Good evening. I wanted to make a video talking a little bit more about finance. I'm no financial expert, but I do have plenty of free time to educate myself, and I wanted to share that education with you guys here. And specifically, I want to be reading out of this book here, an essay on economic theory by Richard Cantillon or Cantillon. It depends on who you ask. I've heard his last name pronounced different ways, but this essay was published back in 1755. And I believe that it offers one of the best comprehensive understandings of economics. Now, a lot of this book is written to a different audience. This book was written, 300 years ago. So it talks about lords and peasants and property owners. But if you can take some of the concepts that are laid out in this book and apply it to today, I think that your eyes will be open, and instead of placing blame, because there's a lot of blame that's thrown around, especially when it comes to the economy, if you can start understanding why these things take place, you can start positioning yourself or changing the way that you either view money or handle money to best set up yourself and your family for the future. So, you can pick up this book down in a link in the description. It's an Amazon affiliate link, so yes, I do receive a little bit of a kickback there, but there's also going to be a link down there to a free audio version on YouTube. So, in that book, if you go, and with the audio version, you can go down in the comment section. I just happen to know this because I've been listening to it, and it is, somebody has left a comment where it's broken up by chapter, so, and part, because there's two parts inside of this one book. So part 1 and part 2, and then chapters for each. So if you want to follow along, if you do end up picking up this book, this is going to be on page 160 in the book. So I wanted to read this little part to you, and then we can discuss. Moreover, even if the state in question could keep a balance of trade and its greater abundance of money, it is reasonable to suppose that this abundance will plunge many wealthy individuals into luxury. They will buy paintings, precious stones from abroad, and they will want silks and rare objects. And they set such an example of luxury in the state that in spite of the advantage of its ordinary trade, its money will flow abroad annually to pay for this luxury. This will greatly impoverish the state and cause it to pass from great power to great weakness. That is exactly what we are experiencing here in this country. And a lot of people say, well, it's the greedy politicians, it's the greedy government, it's greedy business owners, it's this, that, or whatever. But even if a state or a country could keep the balance of trade and its greater abundance of money, it is reasonable to suppose that this abundance will plunge many wealthy individuals into luxuries. I think that this is the key to understanding what's going on right now. So many people are living based off of fear and off of other people's information, but I think this right here is the key to understanding this all. What Cantillon is explaining here is that when a country is a provider of goods and services and it expends those things, so what we experienced in the United States back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s is great production, right? Our cars were getting better. We had airplanes and new inventions, left, right, and center, and other countries were buying these things from us. And as a result of that, money started inflowing into the country, and Americans became wealthier and wealthier and wealthier. And because of that, even if we could continue to live modestly, what people do, and this can be scaled up from an individual basis all the way up to the national level, is when people start getting more money for the work that they produce, they naturally want to, once they save it, they want to enjoy it. And so they will start expending their income, the more wealth that they have, and as a result, the price of goods and services in that country will start to raise because the people have the ability to spend more. And now, because of this, the price of things will start going up and up and up. And so at some point, people will start looking outside of the nation for those same goods and services, because many people will increase their lifestyle, but very few decrease it. And it's because of that that we experience national decline. And what it said here specifically was this. This will greatly impoverish the state and cause it to pass from great power to great weakness. All right, so I want to read a little bit more for you guys. When a state has arrived at the highest point of wealth, and I believe that we experienced this in the 70s and the 80s, I always assume that the comparative wealth of the state consists mainly in their respective quantities of money. It will inevitably fall back into poverty by the ordinary course of things. The too great abundance of money, which gives power to the state so long as it lasts, throws them back imperceivably and naturally into poverty. So as a country reaches the zenith of its wealth, it will inevitably fall back into poverty. Thus, it would seem that when a state expands by trade and the abundance of money raises the price of land and labor, that the price of the princes or the legislators ought to withdraw the money from circulation, pull it back so that people don't increase the expenses. To keep it for emergencies, or try to slow down its circulation by every means except compulsion and by bad faith, to prevent its goods from becoming too expensive and avoid the backdraws of luxury. However, it is not easy to perceive the opportune time for this, to pull this money back out, or to know when the money has become more abundant than it ought to be for the goods and the preservation of the advantages of the state. Therefore, princes and heads of republics do not concern themselves much with this sort of knowledge, and strive only to make use of the abundance of their state revenues to extend power and to insult other countries on the most frivolous pretexts. All things considered, working to perpetuate the glory of their reign and administration, and to leaving monuments of their power and wealth, is perhaps best, so they can do so. So what we're seeing is this is like essentially impossible to know, right? So if this is true, as a country amasses more and more wealth, and this will inevitably eventually plunge that country back into poverty, why don't the heads of government try to mitigate this by pulling that money back out? Well, the issue is it's hard to know what is the top point, what is the pinnacle of what's the point of no return. And so what inevitably happens is, instead of focusing on exactly what I'm talking about, or what Cantillon was writing about, is they would rather look to extend power, insult other countries for frivolous reasons, and to leave monuments to their legacy behind. If that doesn't, sound like the United States of America right now, I don't know what does. As a result, this will drive a bigger and bigger wedge between the rich and the poor, and it will drive commodities out of the country. And we saw this when we wanted to continue to live our same lifestyles without decreasing our expenditure, and so we started outsourcing a lot of domestic goods to China. Now, China is now experiencing this themselves, where they started outsourcing their domestic products to India and Taiwan, and now the cycle, continues and continues and continues. All this to say is that nations and people rarely live below their means, and it's those who are closest to the money supply who do well, and everyone else suffers. Maybe this is common knowledge to you, but I hear a lot of misconceptions, and a lot of people say that they're expecting a certain individual to come in and fix the financial system or the financial conditions that we are experiencing. And at the end of the day, they can't, because this has been going on for centuries. And so it's inevitable. And so, armed with that information, armed with this knowledge, and please, if you want to have more details, pick up this book and listen to it or read it for yourself. But you can start learning what it is that makes this wheel turn round, and you can better put yourself in a position where you're not at the bottom of the wheel getting crushed, but you're at the top of the wheel seeing what is out there and the advantages at the top. I'm not saying that this is a guarantee that these things will happen and will take place, but it's good to have knowledge, because at least with that, you can equip yourself to know what to do next. But if you found this video helpful at all, please share it with somebody. If you're interested in this book, please pick it up, or at least listen to the free version on YouTube. Let me know if you like this type of content from me. If you don't, leave it down there in the comment section below. I'd like all feedback on this kind of content. It's completely different than what I usually post here, so your feedback is really appreciated. Thank you so much for helping this channel hit 1,400 subscribers here on YouTube. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Maybe we should do a live stream talking about this more. If that's something that you guys would be interested in, please leave a yellow thumbs up, and that will let me know, number one, that you made it to the end of the video, and number two, that you'd be interested in a live stream discussing this topic more. So I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.